In this lesson, I'm going to demonstrate a technique for disconnecting idle sessions. Many DBAs have a problem in their databases with an excessive number of idle sessions. In extreme cases, you can even hit operating system limits, where trying to launch another session results in errors because the operating system cannot fork another process. Even if the situation hasn't got that bad, you may still hit limits within the Oracle instance when you reach the maximum value specified for the processes or the sessions instance parameters. Why does this situation arise? Why do you get too many idle sessions? Well, in an application server environment, it could, for example, be because the connection pool is not configured correctly. For one reason or another, the connection pool spawns vast numbers of sessions and either doesn't reuse them correctly or doesn't disconnect them correctly. In a client-server environment, it might well be sessions that are left hanging about after a disorderly exit from the client process. There could be any number of other reasons. The end result is that your database instance is cluttered up with many sessions that have been idle for minutes, hours, days, even weeks. And we need a straightforward technique to kill these sessions that have been idle for a long time. In earlier releases, the only way to automate killing of idle sessions was through profiles, but that really doesn't work too well. The session is only actually cleared when it attempts to do something, and in many cases, that will never actually happen. The answer is to use the resource manager. Release 11 and later include the ability to disconnect idle sessions after a certain time has passed. The database ships with a default plan, named, would you believe, default plan. That plan is very simple. All it's going to do is give the sysgroup 90% of CPU resources, should anyone in the sysgroup need it, and divide the rest in a ratio of 1:9 between the auto tasks and all other users. This is a reasonable plan that all DBAs should consider implementing. The idea is that the only members of the sysgroup are us, the DBAs, and generally speaking, we aren't even logged on to the production system. But if we are, it can be assumed that we're going to be doing something pretty important and should have the resources we need to do it. So in normal running, the entire machine will be available to the auto tasks and other groups. This default plan isn't really going to have much effect, but what I'm going to do now is edit it so that I can disconnect sessions of other groups if they haven't done anything for a certain period of time. When working with the resource manager, the first step is always to create a pending area. That reserves a block of memory within which we're going to work while adjusting the environment. My next step is to edit the default plan. Execute dbms resource manager.update plan directive. And the directive I'm going to update is part of the default plan, and it's the directive that refers to other groups. I'm setting a new value for the idle time of 30. Now, the units for this are seconds, and 30 seconds is, of course, ridiculously short. In a production environment, you'll be setting it to hundreds or thousands of seconds, but 30 seconds will do for demonstration purposes. Having made the change, we validate the pending area, instruct Oracle to make sure that my changes make sense, and if that returns successfully, as it did, we can then save the changes to the data dictionary. If you are not already using the default plan, we need to enable it, just with Alt-System set resource manager plan equals default plan. In a more sophisticated environment, you'll be doing that with the scheduler. Now, to see how well it works, I'm going to create a user. I shall grant connect to JW identified by JW. And now, in another session, I'll log on as my new user and just get the time. So right now, my session is fine, but it won't be in about 30 seconds, because if we look at how the session is configured, Sys is logged on as a member of the Sys group, but JW is a member of other groups. And other groups is going to be disconnected if he's done nothing for 30 seconds. Well, that time may well have passed already. Okay, that was right on the 30-second boundary. That will have reactivated the session, but we'll give it another 30 seconds. And while we're waiting, we can perhaps see what the plan looks like now. There you see it, other groups now has that limit put in for max idle time. Error. He's been disconnected because he was idle for 30 seconds. And there you have it. A simple, effective way of disconnecting all sessions that have been idle for whatever time period you wish to set.